So first of all, like always, hello and welcome to the Dynamic Racing League 2020. This is already the 9th round of the season, which is the Baku Grand Prix. So we basically are almost halfway through the season. First thing I'm gonna say is that M. Yates is not gonna take part in this race. I just asked him before the race. He said he was only interested in the Triple Crown. He managed, in the past, he managed to take the win of the Indianapolis Grand Prix in IndyCar, and he also managed to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which means he only needs the F1 win at Monaco to complete the crown, which he didn't get, but we still had the pleasure to have him back in the league for a couple of races. Scaife testing the run-off area. He felt satisfied, so he did a reverse, and now he can continue with his outlap. Another important thing to be said is that we have a driver with COVID. It's Jamie James driving for Renault. Of course, we wish him all the best, but apart from the fact that we want him to recover, it's understandable if he doesn't perform at his best. But let's focus on Alpmut K, because he finally completed his outlap, and he was the first driver to leave the garage. So he is the first driver to start a qualifying lap. There is a yellow flag. He already finds traffic in sector 1. It probably was a Renault, because it looked like a yellow and black car. Yes, it was a Renault. So it was Brycey, because Jamie James is still sitting in the garage. So Alpmut K found the traffic in sector 1, but it looked like he wasn't affected by it. Brycey wasn't in the racing line. Alpmut K avoids the curbs at the chicane because they are too high to be used, so you need to try to drive around those curbs like they are walls. So Alpmut K is in the final sector of the track. He uses the run-off area, so we need to see if this lap time is still valid. It looks like he hasn't decided to slow down, so he maybe didn't get any warning. We will find out in a few seconds. First driver to complete a lap. So Alpmut K completes the lap, and the lap is still valid. It's 1:37.9. So Alpmut K takes provisional pole position, as he is so far the only driver to have completed a lap. We also have Matt on track, but he is in the traffic of Orb King. Last time out, Matt didn't manage to set a single lap time, one single lap time in qualifying at Monaco. He now can't go as fast as he would like to go, because he is in the traffic of Orb King. Matt slows down. It's still good enough for 5th, while Orb King with that lap got 4th. but to be fair to Owen, he was on medium tires. That's why he was so much slower compared to Matt. He wasn't at fault there, he was on medium tires, different strategies. Matt was just unlucky that he found Orb King at the end of Sector 2, which ruined his lap time, but Orb King went pretty fast for a lap on medium tires. We have now 7 drivers with a lap time. Scaife is the last driver among the drivers who have completed the lap time. A lap. So most of the time the peak performance with the soft tires only lasts 1 lap. Then the very next lap you already lose some tenths, so Matt probably needs to switch to a new set of tires, be it a set of medium or soft tires, but he probably will have to change his tires. So in a few seconds, because he is on the final straight, in a few seconds we will know whether he wants to change his tires. It looks like he is aiming for the pit lane, and yes, he is. So he drives back to the pits, and he will probably change his tires. 7 minutes have already gone, 11 minutes left. Alpmut K still on pole, while Jayor went up in second. Wow. 6 minutes left. Matt finally sets a decent, proper lap time after he didn't manage to set one single lap time in 20 minutes at Monaco, and now again it took him almost 15 minutes to complete a lap. So after almost 35 minutes of qualifying, Matt finally sets a proper lap time, and it's good enough for 4th behind Jayor and ahead of Orb King. He is on medium tires, so he still has the time to switch to soft tires if he wants to try to take pole position. I think he probably will, because you can still slow down if you realize your lap is not going to be enough for pole, so that you don't have to start on soft tires. Alpmut K also leaves the garage again. He probably doesn't feel safe with that lap time, because Cla-ita-ACC is only half a second off, and I think Matt will go faster than Cla-ita-ACC, so it's going to be close if Matt decides to switch to soft tires and have a go for pole position. So Alpmut K is on his out lap. Alpmut K is on his out lap, so he's about to start another qualifying lap. Like I said, Cla-ita-ACC is only half a second off Alpmut K, so when Matt switches to soft tires it's going to be close, so probably Alpmut K knows that he needs to find a few tenths somewhere to be safer than he is now. Three minutes left. 3 minutes left. There's Matt still in the pits. There's Matt still in the pits, so let's keep an eye on him, because he probably will have to drive out of the garage in about 1 minute if he wants to try a lap on soft tires, because it usually takes it basically takes 1 minute and 40 seconds to complete an out lap around Baku. So he needs to hurry up if he wants to switch to soft tires, while Alpumutke is in the final sector. He crashes into the wall slightly, but I think enough to ruin the lap time. He slightly hit the wall on the outside. Alpumutke on the main straight to complete his lap. To complete it, no. Alpumutke drives back to the pits. Alpumutke drives back to the pits, and he is basically out of the session, because he doesn't have the time to leave the garage again and start another lap. So Alpumutke now only needs to pray that no one else will better that lap time that he set. It's basically the same lap time that he set at the very beginning of the session, because he didn't manage to improve it. Jayor also left the session, so now Matt is the only danger for Alpumutke, because I don't think that Chris Agerbo has the pace to take it to Alpumutke. He is not that far away in terms of lap times, but I don't think that he has the pace to improve that much. But he is on the final straight. Chris Agerbo on the final straight. Let's see if he improves. No, he stays in second. He stays in second, and it looks like he is still going. Chris Agerbo looks like he is still going, so he can no, Chris Agerbo retires. Chris Agerbo retires, so it's Alpumutke on pole. It's Alpumutke on pole, but we need to wait for Matt. We need to wait for Matt. He won't have another chance, so he needs to make the most out of this lap. Let's see if this will be good enough for Paul, because he is using soft tires, so he is trying to take pole position. Like I said, you have to drive around the curbs in that corner, because they are almost as bad as walls. Then the castle section, which is arguably, probably one of the most difficult corners in the whole calendar. Matt finds traffic in sector 3. Hughes' moves was really good at moving out of the line. He didn't cause any problems. He went off track. Fair play to him. So Matt can complete his qualifying lap. There is no time left, so let's see what lap time this is going to be. Matt takes Matt at the very last second, like it's already happened in the past a few other times. Matt at the very last second pulls a perfect lap and takes pole position away from Alpumutke. So it's Matt on pole after Alpumutke was on pole for the whole session, because he set that lap time at the very beginning of the session, and he didn't manage to improve it. So Matt takes pole position at the very last second. He handled the pressure very well. because he didn't have another chance. Everything is ready for the formation lap, and we finally are ready for the start of the formation lap. It's Matt and Alpomut K in the first row. Like I said in qualifying, Matt took the pole at the very last second after Alpomut K basically dominated the qualifying session when he set that lap time at the very beginning. So we have a Matt in pole position, then we have Alpomut K, Jimmy James in third, Chris Acerbo fourth, Orb King in fifth place, Jayor qualified sixth, then it's Z in seventh place, then we have Riceman in eighth, and Brycey ninth, Spike on medium, first driver on medium tires in 10th place. Basically everyone is on soft tires except for the last three are all on hard tires, and Spike is on medium tires. So these are the strategies. The tension is going up because there is only one corner left. Actually this is the final straight, so the tension is going up because the formation lap is almost over. Matt leading ahead of Alpomut K. Alpomut K probably already trying, he already wants to put Matt under pressure. Alpomut K was disqualified from the formation lap. I don't see what he did wrong, but the formation lap was over anyway, so he still had the chance to warm his tires up. So the drivers are approaching the grid. Everything is almost ready. It's gonna take another few seconds. Looks like everything is ready for the start finally. So everything is ready for the start. Matt and Alpomut K in first row, Jimmy James and Chris Acerbo behind, Orb King in fifth. The lights coming on. It's a light out and away we go. Looks like Alpomut K stays in second. He is being attacked by Chris Acerbo, by the Red Bull on the inside. There is already a collision behind. It's probably Riceman, and there is already a safety car deployed. A weird call because no one retired. I don't know why. Yes, Hughes moves. He's driving with a completely broken front wing, but I don't understand why the safety car was deployed when basically nobody retired. Maybe because of the debris, but no one has retired, so everyone will have the chance to fix their car if someone has issues and carry on. What are they doing? I don't understand what they were doing. They were basically going at pedestrian pace. but they now are driving at a normal pace. So still lap 1. Matt managed to keep the lead. Also Alpmut K in the end managed to keep second place. Let's see if some drivers are going to do anything in the pits, change tires or have front wing changed. Hughes Moves probably will definitely will be one of the drivers in the pits because he totally lacks the front wing. Also Jimmy James, the driver with coronavirus, Jimmy James also driving back to the pits. He decides to switch to medium tires. Bilton Matt also in the pits. Jayor, they leave the pits on medium tires. Both decided to switch to medium tires. And like I said, Hughes Moves driving back to the pits because he didn't have any other option. He had to drive back to the pits because he was totally lacking the front wing. So Hughes Moves now driving out on hard tires. Hughes Moves decided to switch to hard tires. So the safety car has been out for a while now. The safety car has been out for pretty long. We'll see when the safety car decides to drive in, to drive back to this lap. I was just saying it, and when I was saying it, the call came. So the safety car will drive back to the pits in this lap, and now Matt is taking a distance from the safety car. Matt and Alpmut K didn't decide to pit, so they are on the same tires that they used in qualifying and during the first laps of this race. Matt controlling the pace. Alpmut K will probably try to put him under pressure. It's not a difficult track to overtake on, but it's still a street circuit, so Alpmut K probably wants to make the most out of this restart, but it looks like Matt had a good restart, and in the meanwhile Orb King was attacked and also overtaken by Chris Agerbo, who is now again close to Alpmut K. So Orb King overtaken by Chris Agerbo, also now being attacked by Jimmy James. Jimmy James changed his tires. He is now on medium tires, so he is on fresh tires. I'm not sure how good Orb King's tires still are. So Spike is all over the back of Gogs. He decides to dive into the corner. Probably Gogs didn't even notice Spike in the mirrors, but Spike was good at avoiding the collision. There was a slight collision actually, but it was not strong. So Spike didn't get any damage, neither did Gogs. So now Spike can continue his pressure. I have to say, Spike really has improved a lot since last year and the previous years also, because he wasn't even able to drive properly. And now all his racing lines look okay, so he is driving well. Of course, he is not on the same pace as the top drivers yet, but he really has improved a lot, and maybe he can score some solid points at Baku, especially if some of the drivers ahead have some issues, like it always happens at Baku, because it's easy to retire at Baku. One mistake and you're out of the race, pretty much like at Monaco. So Spike, if he doesn't make mistakes and keeps it clean, he maybe will score some points, and I hope that will happen, because he really has improved a lot. But he is already in 10th place, so he actually needs to finish where he is already. But the race is still long, so Spike for the moment is putting Gox under pressure. Now Jayor is putting Orb King under pressure. Jayor all over the back of Orb King. Orb King, a reminder that he is second in the championship standings. He is on 99 points, while Alpmut K is on 95 points. Matt is leading the championship by 131 points, but Orb King really has been consistent. I was talking about Spike before, and he retired. You saw his wrecked car on the main straight, so shame for Spike, because I was really hoping for him in a better for a better result, but he was the one to make the first mistake. Now Brasi in the pits for his first pit stop. He decides to switch to medium tires, so he rejoins basically in last place as Spike has retired. So Bricey, the last driver among the ones still racing. Lap 6 out of 26. No safety car deployed. He really went close to the wall there. He really almost hit the wall. Jimmy James, despite his not flu, but corona, but if he's racing, he probably isn't having any serious issues. But despite his coronavirus, he is driving very well. He is for the moment ahead of Jayor, and he already has pitted, so it's a valid 4th place. Alpamut K now decides to drive back to the pits. Alpamut K back to the pits. Matt still hasn't pitted, so let's see if when Alpamut K rejoins, he is fast enough to gain the seconds that he lacked. Safety car deployed, so this might help. This probably will help Matt, because Alpamut K pitted before Matt did, so he probably could have come out in front. I'm not sure, but it was a possibility. But safety car comes out, so Alpamut K is now driving at safety car pace within the delta. Matt has already... No, he hasn't pitted yet. No, he hasn't pitted yet, but I'm pretty sure that he will pit. I'm pretty sure that he will pit. Alpamut K, like you can see, is driving very slowly, because you have to respect the delta time. It's almost as slow as the pace behind the real safety car. So Matt will probably keep his lead when he drives out of the pit lane on new tires. We are riding on board with Matt now, so let's see what he does. Yes, he decides that it's time to pit, and now we will see what kind of tires he goes for. He goes for hards. While there is a puncture, is Chris Agerbo. Chris Agerbo has a puncture. He crashed into the wall, but he was lucky not to break anything. He touched the wall at low speed, so the suspension resisted the impact. So Chris Agerbo didn't retire. He can now carry on. He can continue the race. He decided to switch to hards. So 8 laps completed. Matt came out on top, but his gap will be nil when the safety car drives in. Brycey has issues. Brycey was into the wall. He is lacking a front wing, and he crashes out of the race. Brycey crashes out of the race, so Brycey retires. Third driver to retire in this race, and I'm pretty sorry for him, because he took a break from the league because he wasn't able to finish races, and he has another issue now, so he probably needs to sort himself out. Lap has restarted for a while now, and it looks like Alpamut K is pretty fast on this set of tires. And it also looks like Matt was affected by the slight hit into the wall, because I think he didn't get any damage, but Alpamut K is really all over the back of Matt, and also Chris Agerbo is getting closer when he was not as fast as them two. So this probably means that Matt is holding Alpamut K back, and by holding him back, Chris Agerbo is currently faster than the two drivers in the lead. So Matt and Alpamut K are being caught by Chris Agerbo. Chris Agerbo is going faster than them, so he will catch them when in a few laps, if Alpamut K doesn't manage to overtake Matt. The gap is going down and down, but it also looks like Matt really has good straight speed, so it might be difficult for Alpamut K to overtake Matt, but let's see what happens. Now Alpamut K is not that close to Matt, so he probably won't overtake him now. Hughes Moves also retired from the session. There is only 6 drivers left. Only 6 drivers left, and there is a virtual safety car. No real safety car, but virtual safety car. So this might give Matt the time to catch a breath, because he really was under pressure. The safety car the virtual safety car is off, so the race restarts, and Matt is again under pressure. Matt is again under pressure because Alpmut K is faster. Matt has slight damage, but any piece of the wing does make a huge difference in terms of aerodynamics. So Matt really struggling for pace. So Alpmut K is again all over the back, and there is 13 laps left. So it's going to be really tough for Matt. It's going to be a really tough race. He has nothing to lose, so he will probably decide to defend as hard as he can, trying to avoid a collision, because he is the championship leader after all, so he has no interest in causing a collision when he has such a huge gap in the standings. Alpmut K really looks close. He looks like he is all over the back of Matt, but Matt still comes out of T1 in front. Alpmut K seems to be lacking straight speed, because in the corners Matt is really struggling a lot. You can see now he had a bad exit out of that corner. Matt driving defensive lines everywhere. Alpmut K is really putting him under pressure now around the outside in the chicane, but there is hardly any room for overtakes at that chicane. So Alpmut K tried, but he stays behind. Alpmut K stays behind Matt, but every lap the pressure goes on and on, goes up and up, so it's going to be a very difficult rest of the race for Matt. He really lacks pace, and Chris Agerbo has caught now caught Matt and Alpmut K, so Chris Agerbo is going to join the fight. Now Chris Agerbo can probably even use DRS. Yes, he can use DRS because he's within 1 second. Really anyone can win this race. And Matt is really slowing them down. Alpmut K can't find a way to overtake Matt, but he is finally as close as he needs to be. Alpmut K drives past Matt, but look at that straight speed. Matt really has a lot of straight speed. Alpmut K had DRS, but he wasn't any faster than Matt, but now he managed to complete the overtake. So Alpmut K finally takes the lead. Matt really didn't have the pace to keep him behind any longer. Matt fights back. Alpmut K around the outside, between the car, between the Mercedes and the wall, and Matt unbelievably regains the lead of the race. What's going to happen? Alpmut K was really close before the chicane, and for a second they disappeared from the camera, so it was a tense moment. But unbelievably, Matt regained the lead of the race. And like I was saying before, it's really weird how fast Matt is on the straights. Basically, Alpmut K was all over the back. He managed to complete the overtake, but it's crazy how easily Matt regained the lead. I was saying, when Alpmut K was behind Matt, he was taking a benefit from the toe, but when he didn't have his toe, Matt was as fast as Alpmut K, despite the fact that Alpmut K had DRS. And we saw Orb King for a second, for a moment. He is in no man's land. Basically, these three drivers are the only drivers racing, because the rest of the drivers are driving like in free practice. They basically have no one to fight, and they are all very far from each other, so they probably are not having the most exciting race of their lives. And again, it's the same thing that has been happening for most of the race. Alpmut K really close to Matt in the corners, because Alpmut K has much more downforce with a healthy front wing, while Matt has a broken front wing, so he totally lacks downforce. But again, it's crazy how much straight speed Matt has. He is really hard to overtake today, and Alpmut K even struggles to stay close on the straight. It's unbelievable. And I was saying that before, Gogs is also in no man's land. He is currently on medium tires, so he probably won't have to pit again. Chris Agerbo threw his opportunity in the bin. Chris Agerbo threw his opportunity in the bin. Alpmut K made a slight mistake. Chris Agerbo was good at taking advantage of that, but I think he tried way too hard to overtake Matt, and he almost hit the wall in the castle section. He would probably have retired with that angle of impact. So Chris Agerbo surely will have to pit. Chris Agerbo is going to pit. I don't think Orb King is close enough to take any advantage from that, but now that Alpmut K doesn't have any pressure behind, now Alpmut K can focus on Matt, and like always, Matt really is fast on the straights. But let's follow this moment. Let's follow what's going to happen here, because Chris Agerbo is in the pits. It's going to take longer than usual because he needs to have his front wing changed. Orb King is getting closer, but he is still quite far. So Chris Agerbo leaves the pits. He is now driving out of the pit lane, and Orb King is not close enough to take advantage of that. So Chris Agerbo rejoins in third place. Last lap of the race. Last lap of the Baku Grand Prix, and very outstanding job from Matt, because he really was good under pressure with a broken front wing, with Alpmut K all over the back, all over the back, trying to use any possible opportunity, and he is still trying. But Matt did drive a brilliant race with a damaged car. So hats off to Matt. It's not over yet, but at this point I think that Matt is going to take the win. Yes, Alpmut K is pretty far, so Matt is going to take the win at the Baku Grand Prix and extends his lead in the championship. So Matt takes the win ahead of Alpmut K. Chris Agerbo is going to finish soon. And like I said before, really outstanding drive from Matt. Chris Agerbo completes the race in third place. Orb King was not close enough to take any benefit from Chris Agerbo's problems. So Orb King still has to finish. It's going to be a fourth place. So Alpmut K gains the second place in the standings. But Orb King has been really consistent this season, so he probably will keep the fight until the end. The last two drivers to complete the race will be Gox and Jimmy James. Last place among the drivers who completed the race for Jimmy James, but he wasn't feeling very well. It's still a sixth place. He kept it clean and didn't make any mistake, as far as I know. So he takes these solid points and completes the race in sixth place.